Hi, welcome to the channel. If you like this video, please share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now on to today's topic, Model Railroading 101. So what is model railroading? Well, model railroading is basically a miniaturized version of the prototype being the real world. In this video and in the series to come, we're going to talk about different aspects of the model railroading and why people do it. Well, people are interested in it because they have an interest in trains in general. There's different aspects to this hobby. You've got your people who go and just chase trains and take pictures or see them because of different reasons. They love the different prototypes. They love a steam locomotive that's out there, and they don't want to just ride it. They want to be able to take pictures of it or video and share with their friends or for their own personal interests. People also will chase these trains to get pictures of the prototypes so that they can better model the trains that they already have or build new ones. Or should I say update the ones that they have or ones they will obtain. So what's a typical model railroader? Well, a typical model railroader can be anything from a layout around the Christmas tree to something as elaborate as a whole basement. I started off in the hobby, as many people did, as a child, receive a train set for Christmas or for a birthday. And my start was within a Lionel. A Lionel is usually for those baby boomers. That was our thing. And even today, there are some that still go and they get a Lionel for the around the Christmas tree. That's where I got my interest. It kind of faded off for a couple of decades, and then back in 1990, it picked up again for me. But I decided not to go so much with the Lionel because of space. There are different gauges of trains. That's what they reference to as the size. A gauge in model railroading refers to how it relates to the prototype. So obviously, the real thing is a scale of 1 to 1. 1 foot equals 1 foot in real world. You go down to G scale, which is based on the LGB. That's a 1 foot equals 22.5 feet in the scale. So for every foot of real world, it represents 22.5 feet. You go up to O scale, which is kind of what Lionel is. Lionel is kind of its own thing because it goes it's O to 7, which refers to the radius of the curve of 27 inches, which is a topic for another day with radiuses. So we also have, like I said, Lionel, which is, or O scale, excuse me, which is 1/48. So it's obviously smaller than the G scale. Then we go down to HO. HO is the most popular scale as of right now. I did skip S scale. S scale is, I believe it's 1/64th, but it's not as popular. I mean, it's out there. There are some manufacturers for it, but S scale is just really not as big a thing. Like I said, down to HO scale. HO is 1/87th. So for every foot of real world, it's 87 feet in HO scale. So That's the most popular brand. That's the most popular scale. It's kind of like a middle of the road thing. Uh, then we drop down to N scale. N scale, you're starting to really miniaturize everything. There are considerably more things out there for N scale as opposed to uh, what it used to be years ago. So it's kind of playing catch up. And a big thing, which we'll cover in another topic for another day, is its popularity really boomed with something called T-Track. T-Track is modular, which, again, another topic for another day. But they go to train shows, which is really just a big supermarket for model railroading. Okay. And they pop up at different places, usually at an arena or some banquet hall or something like that. And you have different vendors come to that, and these people will bring their train layouts to display. Mostly clubs, some individuals, but mostly clubs. And they will set up this, and T-Track is, like I said, is N scale, but it's, like I said, it's gaining popularity. Used to be back in the day, HO scale had the same kind of setup, but it was governed by a different set of rules by a different governing body. Whereas, like I said, T-Track is its own thing. So what is N scale? N scale is 1/160th. So, like I said, so every foot of real world equals 160 feet in N scale. So now you see it's roughly half, well, a little bit less than half of HO scale. And another one, which we drop down even further, which is gaining some popularity, but not quite as popular yet, is Z scale. Z scale, now get ready for this, is 1/220th. So, like I said, every foot of real world is equal to 220 feet in N scale. So now you're really getting small. I won't touch Z scale. Sorry. N scale is as far as I go. I usually model, which you can see behind me, and we'll go over this home layout in some detail in a future video. I model prototypically in HO scale. Now I have Z scale, that I have some of that stuff too, we'll go into. But the HO scale is what I model most of the time. And it's basically just because it's the one I can get the most out of. I have an around the room style layout, and I like gathering some, I don't want to say off the wall, but the prototypical stuff, but stuff that's not as popular. Like, okay, everybody has an F unit, or they have a K4 Pacific, but I like to go for the more elaborate models, ones that you don't see every day. So that's another topic, of course. But what are we going to do? But how are you going to model? Well, the basics of 101 model railroading is figuring out what size scale you like, what is available in that scale, how much room do you have, and do you have to commit a whole room to it, or can you just set up when you feel like doing something and then have a storage place to put it away later? And the best ones that you can do both things with is, of course, HO and N scale. And there's There's pros and cons to both. But what you're going to have to determine for your own personal layout is how much room do I have? What's my budget? There's another big thing. Uh, and what exactly do I want to get out of the hobby? Do I want to just run trains in a circle, maybe do a little operations here and there? Or do I want to do strictly something that's, do switching out of cars and make it like the real railroad? Or do I want to just cram as much as I can and see what happens? Or do you want to like run really long trains, but you only have a small area to do them in? So a lot of those things will come into factors. My personal thing was I wanted to be able to have a space where I could run my trains, run them as long as I possibly can, but I also wanted to have buildings, and do scenery. That's kind of my thing. And I've been working on this particular train layout since 2017. I built several uh, for various scales and sizes of layouts. Uh, Most people start out with a 4x8, which is kind of standard because all it takes is a sheet of plywood. And you can go to the local hardware store or lumber yard, pick up a 4x8 and some 2x4s. And there's plenty of places online where you can get uh, assembly instructions, but it's pretty simple. You know, you build out your frame around the sheet of plywood and add legs to it usually out of just cut some 4x8 or 8 foot long 2x4s, and there's your legs. So that's pretty much a basic thing, and how you can get stuff on it, well, that's you'd have to look at track plans and then figure out what you want to get out of it. Do you want to run something that's just a has 8 wheels on it, or do you want something that's a 6-axle diesel, which is 2 sets of 3, or do you want to run steam, which has different requirements depending on which kind it is? So we'll get into all that kind of stuff throughout these videos. And if you have a topic or question or something that you want to know, either about the hobby or how I do things, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And like I said, share this out with people. We're just getting started, the first video, and that like is going to really help out the channel, and of course your subscription and your comments. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next time.